Alright everyone, Supreme Kami over here, and today's topic is going to be talking about the number 89 Gunpla Fragments over here. So I believe right now as a recording, everyone should be able to accumulate up to 40 of the Gunpla Fragments over here. So 8 is going to be from the login bonuses, and then the remaining 32 is going to be able to obtain via completing the custom made mission. There's plenty of ways to actually get that. It's not even that hard. You just have to basically get 100,000 of those creation point, and then you guys should be able to unlock every reward. So let's take a look at what do we have for this period over here. So we obviously gonna have two limited suit over here. So we got the Kubali and then Freedom Gundam. So I mean, okay, so in terms of the limited parts, I'm just gonna say Quibbly may be the better choice, just because we do have the 7-star Quibbly. So if you guys do know, in terms of like, you have the link attribute, and then if you do have the 7-star Quibbly, for example, you can access some of the word tag that is available from the older Quibbly. Because if we do take a look at the older Quibbly, take a look right here, you guys can see that some of the more prominent tag is like, for example, you get Commander. So for, 5 of these parts does contain Commander. And I believe, let me actually do this real quick. Let me filter by the 7-star version a bit. I believe the 7-star version does not innately come with, let's say, Commander. So that's why, if you guys do have, if you guys do, let's say, I don't have the backpack for the Quibbly, so you can just kind of ignore that. So in terms of the 7-star version of it, we can see that they don't, like this part, like the first, like basically the first 3 part does not have Commander. So that's why if you guys, let's say you guys were able to pick up a few copies of the new Kubali, the tech IGB version, like maybe head to the ARM, for example, and then if you exchange for maybe this version of it, the older version of it, you can get Commander and then high firepower. So I think it's actually not a bad option if you want to consider that option. Just kind of keep that in mind. You do have to upgrade to 7-star, and you would have to have the part, in order to have it, right? So you can access Commander, even, and then high firepower as well. So that's why I think Quibbly is probably a better state. And then if you do take a look at the old Freedom, for example, the P attribute, the one right now that is able to exchange for, we do have the big scale version of the Freedom. And I would say the big scale already has more or less like the more prominent tag, for example. So if we do take a look at the older version, it's like a mess. You got pro tag, Gundam type, high mobility. So this is like definitely all over the places. So this is not really like a full shooting build. This is not like a full like pure melee build. So it's kind of awkward. So I don't see that high value into exchanging for this version of the Freedom over here. Maybe the back part in terms of the EX cube, but I would say if you guys do have maybe this ticket over here, if you guys do have maybe the 5-star pick tickets and you're planning to get the Freedom backpack for that specific reason, use that instead. It's only going to be 300 hard trips. I really don't see a point into wasting this opportunity to maybe exchange for Kubli. So that's just kind of my thoughts for those two limited suits. And then for the rest of it, so in terms of the rest of them, in terms of the standard pilots that we see right here, we got Shards, we got Kyle over there, and then we got Sea Books over here. I don't know, like those are definitely not like anything top tier in terms of pilot wise over here. They're much more on the older agenda, so I'm just like, probably not, right? So if you guys do want, let's say you guys are looking for like a newer standard pilot, for example, you can actually just kind of exchange for it. So I mean, that's probably the best thing you can do, because you can actually just, let's say you want some newer standard pilot, for example, right? You can actually just use either 3 of these over here, and then you can actually just exchange for it. So that is definitely the safest bet. Like for example, as we are going to talk about a little bit of the standard set over here, like we got Dynamis, Exia, and then Aile Strike. Those are more of like some of the more older generation of the standard parts over here. So if you're not like a new player, for example, I'm pretty sure you guys would have many copies of, dudes, for example, for Dynamis, Exia, and then Aile Strike. If in that case, what you can actually do, we can go back to the exchange, and then we can just do something like this, right? I'm just gonna pick one for example, since I do have 4 tickets left. What I will do, which I have done already, I will actually go ahead and just use them to exchange for some 4-star pick tickets, for example, and then just kind of use it to pick something else, like something newer, for example, that I may not have. So that is probably what I'll do. So right now I should have enough, right? Because right now I should have what, 10 fragments, right? Yeah, let's see. All right, 10 fragments, and then what I'll do next, I'll just go over to the blueprint, and then we would just kind of say this one, right? Yep. We're just gonna exchange for 1 ticket. So I think that's probably the better case in my opinion, because like I said again, you are gonna get 40 tickets of these over here. So if you don't want privilege or freedom, and then you don't need any of these standard, like those 3 standards, I will just go ahead and exchange for 4 of these 4-star pick tickets and go to the permanent or the exchange, go over to the permanent and just kind of see what else you guys want from here, because like these roster over here, these are pretty new, like so I'll definitely pick something of these bunch over here, and you know, instead of picking Exia, Dynamis, or even those Aile Strike. So in terms of Aile Strike, Exia, and Dynamis, let's do kind of see which kind of part, if you guys are planning to get them, for example. Let's do take a look at which one are actually good, and then I'll talk about the freedom and then equivalent and see of those 2 limited, which one is actually pretty good. So let's start things off with the Exia. Whoops, wrong button right there. Alright, in terms of Exia, that is literally one of the first standard unit having an alteration. So yeah, this is like back in what, 2019 I believe. So yeah, it's actually, is it? No, it's 2020. I think it was 2020, not 2019, 2020. So yeah, 2 years ago, that's when alteration actually started. So in terms of the standard Exia, in terms of the speed attribute, me personally, I think in terms of EXQ, I will definitely go for this one over here. We got the Edge of Flinch over here. So this one is going to be a 2-piece combo. So you are going to be firing up those GN long and short blade. I think those are actually pretty cool, because in this way you can actually stop with 5 units, because if let's say one of your blade actually finish up your enemy and then they revive, for example, the second blade is gonna come right ahead and finish up your enemy. So that's why I think this is actually not a bad EXQ to be looking at. So something I would recommend for sure. And up next we have the infamous Transat Ray. So this one is actually not too shabby. This is going to be an S power EXQ at the end of the day and max out. And this one has the ability to offer you a melee attack to your squad and then shot attack to your squad as well. So this is a pretty good, you can say like a dual type support right there. Unfortunately, there is not going to be any health recovery, so that is definitely going to be a downside factor. But I mean, like a melee EXQ offering a shot attack buff, I mean, I would definitely take that for sure. 39% and then 24 split right there, so it's not too bad. Any sizable buff right there should be sufficient enough to trigger those buff traits, so not bad overall. And then the final piece that I think is actually not bad is actually going to be the GN sword right here. This one is actually not too terrible upon alteration, you know. This one has some initial charge boosting for speed attribute, and you also do have some enemy melee power reduce as well. So if any of you guys are planning to build like a enemy reduction type build, I think this is definitely a very good weaponry to be looking at. So definitely something to look into in terms of, these are just kind of basically my recommendation. You can definitely check out maybe the head, torso, arm, shield, and then the GN sword rifle more as well. So that is something I would recommend for the XTS side of it. So now let's move on to Dynamis. Alright, looking over at the Dynamis over here. So Dynamis is more or less like a recently released, you know, alteration. We're scrolling back, you know, halfway through. Not too new, not too old, so this right in between. So in terms of EXQ, we can actually start things off by looking at the head part over here. So this is going to be the archer stand. I believe this is the gamma sigma, or the gamma sign right here, I believe. So this is going to be offering the squad a 40% shot attack. So this one actually includes yourself as well. So if anyone is wondering, does it actually benefit yourself solely? It does, just how it actually stated. So this one is actually not too terrible. This is going to be offering at max a 49% buffering, so it's not too bad. Definitely something that I think this one has the aesthetic. It has the good, good trait right there, or the EXQ, so it's definitely not bad. Definitely something I will recommend. And then up next, definitely gonna be recommending the GN sniper rifle. It's just looking at it at the alternate state, you know. I know the first portrait is not anything too special, but the secondary portrait does kind of make it for us. So I mean, definitely something to kind of recommend. And then all the other ones are not really that good. If we do take a look at the alternate state, they're not really that top tier. Like, reload speed boosted by 10%, and then what does that max out? 25%. So definitely not too appealing right there. And then if we do take a look at the torso, the first portrait was really good, and then secondary portrait, a chance of surviving a fatal blow. So yeah, 14% is definitely not gonna cut it, so that's why it's not a good option at all. And then light EXQ is actually not too bad either. If I recall, this one is actually a sizable jump after alteration. Does give you a B plus power, so definitely something you guys may look into as well. So, but head, and then in terms of the GN sniper rifle, I think those are something just just blindly look at it. With the alteration, they look pretty good. But in terms of the GN sniper rifle, I do have a little bit of a reserve to like whether or not to alterate it, like frame 1 for example. I know it's giving that power boosting, but is it really necessary? Just because the first portrait is just not that really good, so I don't really feel like alterating it. So that's just kind of my opinion. You guys can definitely let me know down in the comment section below. But up next, we will be going over to the Aile Strike and see how that one is. So looking over at the Aile Strike, so Aile Strike is actually the one of the last two wave of the for the standard alteration, and then after the new update, we have not really gotten any brand new standard alteration. So that is like kind of like what's going on, like where have they been? So looking over the Aile Strike, in terms of what I think is actually good, I will actually recommend the beam saber. The beam saber is definitely, in my opinion, it's like a very nice option for like a defender build specifically, because this one is doing a double melee reduction right there. So this is definitely going to be catered to like a specific player base, for example. So this is definitely not going to be for everyone, but I mean, like, we hardly see any double reduction right here. So that's why I think this is definitely something that stood out to me for say. And then up next, I think the beam rifle is actually not bad. The beam rifle is going to be offering an initial charge boosting and also an EXQ power boosting when you are running this one with a mid-range over here. So it's not too bad. Speed attribute and then mid-range are going to be the two condition. So it's definitely something, if that caters to your overall build, that is definitely something you might want to incorporate to your build if that is applicable, for example. All the other one, I can just kind of quickly take a look and see if there are any improvement. This one is actually not too bad. I will have to say, with the proper alteration, it is gonna be a little bit of a handy dandy, but first portrait, just I'm not doing that. What is the shooting trade up? Like, nope, we're not, definitely not doing that. The arm is what is it? It's a cut, so that is gonna be translated into just like a different type of a power boosting, more or less. So it's actually not too bad, but like I said again, the first portrait is just not really there, so I will not really waste my resources into altering this one. Likewise over here, it's going to be EXQ, so that is definitely going to be leave that at your discretion whether or not you want to alterate, because in terms of this one, you're not really raising too much in terms of damage output. It's still going to be a 8 power, prior to alteration and then after alteration, so I don't really see like a big jump in terms of power right there, right? Right. So up next, looking at the Strike Punisher. So this one, yeah, if you do want to do a good damage, for example, you would want to alterate it, because after alteration, you are going to improve the power base to a B minus. So it's definitely a sizable jump for sure. So if you guys do like to use the Strike Punisher, definitely to alterate it. And then this one over here, so this one is going to be the Knights and Nails over here. So this one, I believe, without the alteration, it is going to be D power. So obviously, after alteration, it is going to be a lot more powerful. And then last but not least, looking over the shield, okay, so this one is going to be another shooting power reduced, but the first portrait just kind of like no. So that's why I would rather spend my resources on some other part instead. So yep, definitely not going to be it for me. Alright, so looking at the alteration for the Quibbly. So Quibbly is actually something that you need the L badges, so I'm just like, so I don't know if I would actually, like, in terms of the Quibbly, me personally, I'm using it only for the fodder, for the link attribute, and then for the 7-star be able to access his word tag. But other than that, this one doesn't need an L badge, so I don't know if you guys even want this one. That's kind of, I don't know, man. If they would have included L badges, I would have to say the torso part is definitely the best part of the older Quibbly, because this one is giving you that buff trait effects there, so that's why it's gonna be very good. But man, this one locked into a, what is it, L badges? I don't know how I feel about that. So unfortunate, I would have to say. So let me take a look. But in terms of like which part I think is the best, it's definitely gonna be the torso. So that is definitely something you guys can definitely get for sure. But let me take a look at freedom. Alright, so looking over the freedom, so freedom, unfortunately, it is going to be under the LBAT treatment as well. So yeah, in terms of freedom, I don't really see a purpose of even getting the freedom at the moment, just because all these parts are just not even that good. Like if you take a look at it, that is like kind of horrendous. It's not really that good. This one, yeah, this one is kind of good, but the first portrait is kind of like meh, like a 35% output. Oh no, we're not doing that. No. Arm part, what are we doing for the arm part? Like the stat for the arm is just bad. Like what are those stats, man? Like I don't know. Yep, this one is going to be a reduced cooldown by 50% at once. No, we're not doing those. They are good, but not really the point where you are gonna need like a limited part, for example. So that is definitely a no for sure. This one, initial charge boosting, or yeah, like we have so many options of these already, but looking at it at a standard or a limited parts, no. What about the beam rifle? What are we looking like? Yeah, went above this. So this one, no, like we have better options out there already. So yeah, in terms of looking at the freedom, yeah, the freedom is definitely gonna be a little bit worse scenario than the Quibbly, because at least Quibbly at this point in time you can actually use it for accessing the old portrait or the old vortex, while in terms of the big scale freedom, there's not a 7-star version at the moment. Like you can't upgrade the big scale to the 7-star yet, so you can't really access either or. So that is going to be the unfortunate factor. So if you guys are looking at the limited side, definitely the Quibbly is going to be the better case. But you guys can definitely let me know what are you guys going to be doing with your number 89 Gunpla Fragment. But with that being said, that is going to be pretty much it, and then I'll be catching you all on the next one.